Okay, let's talk about something that we found we wanted to add and we added years ago. It's been helpful ever since because we still use it today. That's this. On the var sheet, quite often we find ourselves in a situation where we basically want to use the same list of vars more than once. But we have to make sure that if we do, that the match is correct, that this would always go with that, this would always go with that. Okay? This is how you do that. All you have to do is decide what's going with what. Okay, it can be anything, by the way. If you said Granger has to always match with plumbing, Mishawaka with water heater, so to speak. In other words, row by row by row has to match. That being the idea. Okay, and I'll talk about the rest of it in a minute. But here's what you do. You just put regular brackets around these. Keep in mind this is not tokens because I'm not including percentage signs, just regular brackets. And what that means is this. Normally, when you make MOWG produce pages and you tell MOWG produce 600 pages or whatever, then MOWG will completely randomly select from everything. It will randomly select from here, from here, from here, from here, and it will select a word and use it a bunch of times on the page, however many you had. It'll select a word and use it a bunch of times on the page, however many you had, whatever it is. And by the time it's done, then there you go. Now, it's fine if it goes randomly when we have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of variables, which is pretty old time. That's back in the article spinning days. But in the new days, we really don't want to do just crazy massive runs with thousands and thousands of pages where we keep winding up using the same keywords over and over again. We want to make sure that each page has its very own focal point so that Google sees that. We're trying to stick to the same pitch, change very few things, but we still have to be accurate, right? We can't say Granger, Indiana plumbing, and then by the time we wind up using Vars 7, that somehow we're saying, Benton Harbor, okay? Because we wanted to say Granger, right? That being the basic concept. So as long as you put the brackets, then they match. That means this. If you're going to produce one page, those will match. Whoops, hold on, let me turn that off. If you produce another page, those will match. This one and this one. Now, everything else in the middle is still random, okay? We'll talk about the rest soon. But if you want to produce another page, that one and that one will match. What happens when it gets to the bottom? Let's say you're wanting to produce another page. Well, it ran out of data, and so it will start again. So, same thing. This will start again because they're matched. In other words, first page this, second page that, third page that, fourth page that. First page this, second page that, third page that, fourth page that. So what are the combinations that come off of this? Right? And that's what it's doing. Every time you use a brackets, it's going to absolutely start at the top. So what do you think will be the situation here if we actually did this, which is kind of a weird thing to do, but let's say we did it. What would happen? Well, first page, second page, third page, fourth, that would be the 15th. And first page through the 15th, but then what? Then this is going to be the 16th page. What's going to go on it? That and that, because it ran out here. It did 15. Now there's nothing left, so it has to start over again. So this will be on the 16th page. So now it'll be matched with that one. Okay? And also, it ran out here, so back to that again, right? So it'll be Granger and Granger matching with drain cleaning. Well, then what do you think will be on the 17th page? Mishawaka with the next one down, leaky faucet, with whatever, 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 and then Mishawaka again. Okay, by the way, I'm saying whatever for these, and these are classic cases where you might do this because just because you're using the proper case version and then the lowercase version. So assuming that you care to keep them the same, well, you would for residential and commercial, 100%. But customers or clients, you might just want that variability on the page. You might want to say customers in some places and clients in other places. That just looks better to Google and it looks more natural to humans, okay? So I might very well want to be careful to use brackets around var 3 for residential and commercial with var 5. That way I'm always talking about residential plumbing on those topics and then commercial on the other topics, right? So we're getting there. This is starting to make more sense. Okay, so here might be another question. What is a possibility for doing this whole thing out? And that is going to be coming back to our mass macro, doing the whole thing out. But we can't have this directly. We'd have to first do the whole thing out and then pick from it to do the rest. Okay, and that's not so hard. But the concept is, if you want each one of these to go with each one of these, and then you want this to also go with them all, and that to also go with them all, it's best to create that combination manually so that we just have it lined up, and then put brackets around all the headers so that when MOWG is told to do however many lines that comes to, it will literally have to do the first row followed by the second row followed by the third row, etc. Right? Let me show you how that looks real quick. Okay, and I'll select this and get rid of all of those brackets, right? Just real quick, because I forget whether it actually has an effect on the mass macro. It's just doing these in the right order normally. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this bit out and this bit out because I can recreate them later, and that bit out. Just the doubled up stuff. Or I'm sorry, this bit right here, delete. Okay, I want every one of these to go with every one of those to go with every one of these, and then I really don't care what happens here. It's up to the system to just choose. So we already figured out that this with this with this was 1300 and what was that, 20 or something? You know what? I'll just show you if I take, you can leave this in, forget about it. I guess it's 1320. I could say 1320. I could just whip out a calculator and get this decision made anyway, right? So if I really want to be accurate, what was that? It was 15 times 44, 44 equals, and then I'm going to say times 2 for residential and plumbing. That's 1320, yeah. So watch, ready? I'm just going to mass this thing out right here, right now. Mass, okay? How many results out of 2,640? Half of it, right? 1320, because I don't want it to double up all the pages just because of that. Okay, submit. Okay, now it went through all those combinations. Now, having done that, I may be wondering if it did it the way I wanted. So I might just think, I'm not sure if it did. So I might just say, I'm going to put this somewhere else. Cut. Stick it on just some other paste. Tab. Okay. Because this will create a new tab when it runs mass. That way I can be much more exacting. All right. So I'm just doing this to make sure you guys are clean about your operation, right? Make sure you get your operation clean there. Now that it's done that properly, okay, because it did all the combinations, now I'm going to Control C, reinsert, introduce this. All right. And you might think, how do you deal with getting it down? The answer is just keep doing that, right? Watch. I'm just going to bring that all the way down. Boink. Done. Okay. All right. There we go. And I just kind of got half and half that way. How's that? So half and half. Isn't that cool? And then if you say, well, I want one of them to kind of be a bunch of the others so it's not really matched, you can do that. If you're thinking in terms of some kind of strange footprint and you want to make one of these more predominant, just make it more predominant. Highlight one and drag it down. Right? There. Now again, what can I do? I can completely put brackets around these. So since I have it highlighted, I'll do a Control H, and this time I'll just change like VA. Even a V will do. Replace with a open bracket V, replace, and that's 4. It says so, 4 replacements. That's because I highlighted 4 things. And that way, the rest of it is easy. I can just put one here, put one there. Closing brackets, right? There. Now, I have got this thing ready. If I tell MOWG to do 1,320 pages, this will be the first page, that'll be the next. So then the question becomes, what do you do about your duplicates again? just start dealing with it. Copy, what was that, var 5? Let's say it was. I forget whether it actually was. I think it was not, right? It was probably like var 7 or something. So you know what? I'm going to make this like, what was that, 5, 6, 7? Okay, we said like residential customer. So 3, 4, then 5, 6. So yeah, that would be 7, right? I just call that var 7. Highlight it. And actually what? I'm just going to manually select it. Matter of fact, let me see if I remember how you do this. You hit like Control Shift down arrow. Yeah, and it selected them all. So now that they're selected, Control H. Get rid of every case of the Indiana and Michigan, right? So comma slash IN, capital IN. Get rid of it. Place all. And then Michigan. So comma slash, MI. Replace that. There. Now, there's even another thing if I want to be more exacting. Format source. See, it says remove extra spaces. That means leading and trailing. Nothing in the middle. It'll leave spaces in the middle like Benton Harbor. But if there was a space after it, it would get rid of it. If there happened to be a space before leading and trailing, right, it would get rid of it. Okay? So you can highlight whatever you want to check for extra spaces, things like that. All right, now what did I need? I needed these two, Control C, bam, and that's like var 5 and 6, right? Again, remember the vars don't matter the order, so it's up to you. You can put the ones you use the most way to the left. Now, the case of this, Control Shift down arrow, and then I'm going to, okay, I'm just going to do it this way. I'm just going to grab one of the bottom ones, scroll to the top, and then shift click to highlight both columns. Now what did I need? I needed these to be proper case. So proper case, okay? Bap. There you go. So now I got everything I need. This whole thing is ready, okay? Now really, try to think of it this way. If I was doing this job quickly and I didn't have to explain the concepts, okay, because they're already known. I already knew that I would do this. Okay, and I already knew I would use the mask. I already knew not to care about saying customers and clients are supposed to create different pages. If I was just sensible and did it quickly, how long do you really think it would have taken me to go to Google, look up list of cities near, do the travel math bit, copy to a text file, paste it up in here, make that a var, and then go find the keywords. Another handful of minutes, and I got the keywords. And then think of a few more items, like in this case, residential customers, and then copy over a column and get rid of Indiana and Michigan, and then copy over 2 more columns and paste them, and then make those proper case. So I just have all the combinations the way I want for the pages. Really, you're just talking about a very short amount of time, minutes. And keep in mind the new trick. I'm on vars.csv. I am on this tab. Can I delete everything from here now? Yes. Can I delete everything from here now? Yes. So make sure you're on the right tab when you save it, because you're going to lose those other tabs. If you save it as a vars.csv, if you save it as a CSV file, how do you save all your tabs? File, save as, and save it as not a CSV file. Save it as like an Excel workbook, .xls, or as a flat out .xlsx. Okay, that's so you can keep track of literally everything. Vars.xlsx, fine. It's not what I'm going to use for MOWG, but now I've got my backup. So if I want to create an archive in this case, right, just to get it out of my area so I don't stare at it and mix it up accidentally, hey, great. That might be done. The guy responded. I got the right list for him. So it goes after I made the adjustments to his cities, the adjustments to his keywords, because I sent this list to him and he sent it back to me changed. And I'm saying, okay, I'm using it. So I copied it and pasted it into my var sheet and started working with it. Really, look at this. I've got one tab called vars. Everything's lined right up. It always, by the way, in CSV, it always recompresses the column view. Okay? No big deal. It's all here. All that information is there. And I've got all this. So as long as I did go out of my way to put these vars into the HTML pages in any combination I want, okay, and then up in the keywords, then I'm good to go. Final question. Somebody will say, is there any difference with the brackets when you get to the HTML page? Do you have to do like double brackets or something for the tokens? The answer is no. When you have this, okay, var1, you know, on the HTML file somewhere, okay, I should really increase the font, you know, so you can see it better, right? This is a token. That goes on the HTML page. Whenever you see this, think HTML, think coding, okay? That's a token. It does not care at all about whether I have brackets on this thing or not. It's going to find and match var1 anyway, okay, because that's how we build it. So you do not have to worry about putting brackets on this thing or taking them out. That'd be weird. What you want to do is just make sure you put brackets in the CSV file for whatever columns matter most, right? For whatever columns matter, okay? And there you go. All right, I think I explained that well enough. I think you got the idea. You can go through and practice on some of the other websites that you took down if you took them down with me, because it's really not hard to do this. And you understand now about putting vars into the HTML file, matching them on the CSV file, how to use brackets for more combinations. As a matter of fact, let me show you the last one, just a common sense reminder. Let's say we had red, yellow, blue, and we have square, okay, circle, okay. Now, and then what? And square, circle, and triangle. Okay. If I said that they had headers, insert, I said that this was, you know, bracket, right? var1, close bracket. And then this is var2, right? I could even just drag this over and then make that a2. Okay. Well, if I said do that, then how many is the right answer? 3 times 3. But you will, I'm sorry, you will always have this, this, and this, and that's it. You will have 3 variations, and that's all there is to it. I got a question. How do you make all the combinations of both, though? If you're producing pages in MOWG and you're using these bracket concepts, what do? Here's another way to think about it. Add one more to one side or the other. Red, yellow, blue, let's say green. Now watch what happens. That with that, that with that, that with that, and then this with, guess what? That. So that means next time around, this goes with that, that goes with that, that goes with that. You know, then that goes with that, that goes with that, that goes with that, right? So what do you have? You have 4 times 3. You can create 12 now in MOWG, and they'll come out, all the combinations. Now, think geo-target times keywords again, and you've got it. Okay, have them offset by 1 or 2 or 3. Be careful though, don't offset them by exact groups, you know, like some people mix it up and they go like this and they weren't counting. Well, it's not going to help. That was red square, yellow circle, blue triangle, right? Well, guess what? Then you're going to have red square, yellow circle, blue triangle, red square, yellow circle, blue triangle. Right? So you really just need one more on one side or the other, right? And then do this times that is the best way to go, okay? And if you don't have enough, invent one. If you need to create one more keyword to make it work or something like that, do it, you know? Or take out one city if you have to, especially if it's not really a city or if it was far away and no one really knew if they wanted to include it or not. But there you go. So think of all the combinations and it'll dawn on you there can be a lot. What's another use for it real quick? Okay, I'll just show you 2 more. Links. Okay. Maybe you need a certain link, right? You want Elkhart, okay, plumber, to always point at that page, http domain.com/ you know, Elkhart-plumber, right? Well, you need them to always match, right? Maybe this is the anchor text for that link. Then what do you have? You have like South Bend plumber matches with domain.com/ South Bend plumber, right? Then you have Mishawaka plumber, ... What's that mean? That means that you want to make sure to use brackets so that they always match, right? You always get the right anchor text with the right link, okay? But you could mix and match. You could have like your main domain and different main domain here without the ending pages, or maybe a landing page. I mean, whatever you want. And then maybe you also have just the main page, because you want to mix up the backlinks. So then you can have like Elkhart Plumber and, South Bend Plumber, right? Because we're going to do this for our anchor text and our backlinks, right? And we're saying that they're all good with all of these, okay? So then we can do more and more and more and more and more. Goshen, right? Plumbing services, right? Whatever it is you want. Residential plumber, Mishawaka residential plumber, Niles emergency plumber, whatever. And they can keep going after your same pages over and over again, even though you've got like all these different anchor texts, right? Yeah, you can do that. And if you use these, you're still going to mix and match across the whole batch. So either you want to have an exact count so that they always exactly match, okay? Or you want to have one more of these on one side, since you can get away with it, and just do the math. This times that equals the total number that you would be generating in that case. But if you're going to go that far, just keep in mind it affects these too. So the real question is whether you should do it or not, and that's a judgment call. It's, do not create content that is purely duplicate or only has anchor links changed and nothing else on the page, right? Make sure each page has a different purpose, okay? A different keyword, a different entry point. That's it. So the title and the meta description, the stuff that you see at the top, okay? All this stuff in blue and all this stuff in black, that's your page title and your meta description. Make sure that those are different for every single page you create. They have a different purpose. The words can be the same except for the city and except for whatever kind of a keyword or something you would find to add to it. Okay? Heck, they could be the same except for the city. But it's just better for creating a lot of pages for the guy if you can mix and match a few different things. So if you can use both residential and commercial along with the number of keywords along with the geotargets, quote them one price. If you can only do cities and keywords, quote them another price. That way you can make your money. Like if you say 15 cities times 40 keywords is 600 pages. But if you can also put residential and commercial into the mix, now you're up to 1,200 pages because you got two sets. Well, you tell the guy, ask the guy, can you do do you do residential and commercial? And the guy says, yeah. I say, great. I can sell these pages at 50 cents a pop. It's going to be 1,200 pages, so $600, and you've got a page for everything you do, for every surrounding keyword. And this is going to be the keyword list, and you show them how I broke that down using the mass macro to get all the keyword lists together, right? If you ask, do you do plumbing and commercial? The guy goes, oh, just commercial, or oh, just plumbing. Say, great. We're going to create 600 pages for you. We charge you $1 a page for that. That's 600 pages, and we're going to have a page for every one of these keywords. See what I did? In the one case, I charge 50 cents per page. The other case, $1 per page. What do you charge per page? Well, whatever you want, really. It's up to you. When you talk to the guy or get any kind of information out there, what are you putting out? You can put out a standard, keep the price kind of low. If you find the sales are too easy, raise the price. You can put a standard and keep the price high, but only do it if guys if you're talking to people and you can hear their feedback, right? The less people know about the internet, the more it's going to cost them to get the work done. That's just the way of it, right? So whether you charge them 50 cents or per page or $1 a page is really a question of how little money you're willing to work for, right? Like if you're going to go out of your way to create, let's say the guy only works in 3 cities. Well, that's only 120 pages if he does not do both plumbing and residential, for example, right? And you'll think, for crying out loud, 300 pages is all I can create. Am I supposed to quote him at 50 cents a page? It'd be $150. And yet he's had 80 questions for me. Do I really want to only make 150 on this job? And yet I don't want to walk away. So don't charge 150. Charge $1 a page. Make 300 on the job, If a guy keeps you locked on the phone forever asking silly questions or tire kicking or because he doesn't know anything and you have to explain it all, bill for that time, all that time. I have a project scope requirement in my business. Everyone's got their own thing. For me, If I chat for longer than an hour and a half with a guy, new person, and they don't buy anything, I walk away. And I will not talk with them anymore unless or until they buy something. Because an hour and a half is really a lot of time to spend with somebody who isn't committing to any kind of a purchase. And most guys, I can figure out within minutes, whether this conversation really is going to get anywhere or not. I do spend a lot of time talking on the phone, I really do. And sometimes it's just me being passionate and explaining a lot. That's not reflecting on the customer, it's reflecting on me. That's a question of how much I'm willing to explain to help somebody learn how the internet works. It's kind of what I do, right? As far as I can do it, to the degree I can do it, that's what I do. Uh, but really, have some kind of a marker for how long you'll spend with somebody before you move on to the next guy, and that's the max amount of time you'll spend with somebody, right? That way you know how much you're making per hour. Because 1 in 5 guys is going to buy it from you. If you show them some samples, especially. So if you work with a bunch of plumbers, like you could go through 3 pages of these guys. You could go through all these guys, go through page 2. Any of those guys that you found that are different, that are mom and pop stores, page 3. Any of those guys who are different or mom and pop stores. By the time you're done, you've gone through like 30 people. There's going to be like 5 or 6 saying, how much? When can you deliver? How do you accept payment? I mean, just like that, you're going to make 5 or 6 sales, And since it's the same keywords and it's the same cities, all you have to do is download import those web pages and make sure that they look good, right? See if you can doctor them up. You may not be able to do all of them. Might only be able to get 20 of them to work. Don't spend more time than you want. If you want to think about advancing to the next level, bring on someone who's an HTML expert. I don't mean WordPress, I mean directly HTML. They can work inside Dreamweaver and they can fix pages with broken links. Go to Fiverr.com and find a partner and say, hey man, for every page I send you, can you just fix the coding so the page looks like the original? I'll send you the one I have and the original link, and I'll send you in a list, and can you please fix them all for like, $15 each or something, just on average, whether it's hard or easy for you. Just, that's what I want to do, is find a guy who's willing to do that deal with me. And you might think, wow, that's expensive. So then offer for 5. See if you can find a guy who can do it for 3. What do I know? All I know is if you can get a bunch of those imported, lined up right, and you can run them through, and you can get those Vars plugged in, and you can show the guy just some samples, send him an email. Hey, I just did this on my testing server. No one sees this, just you and me. That's the last thing I want to tell you right now about that. Okay, here it is. There is this thing, okay? Edit, okay? And you'll just think, how do I tell anyone that that we're not indexing their pages? I just want to show you one in case you will forget this, okay? You can find this anywhere where you know where to look, okay? View page source. But in here, I mean, I'm just going to help drive this in your head. See this? This is so easy. It's like the description tag and the keywords tag, right? This keywords, like I said, keywords isn't important. There isn't even any content there. But it's something called no index, okay? Here's what you do. If you're doing samples for a guy and the guy's like, hey, I can't believe you're publicizing my information, the answer is, I am not publicizing your information. He goes, well, how do I know Google doesn't pick up on it? And the answer is, it's not allowed to. Meta. Name equals, in double quotes, robots. Content equals, and this is just the way all the other meta tags work, no index. And if you want to go further, comma, no follow means don't follow any links to any other pages either from this page. How do you close it? The same way it's closed on any other meta tag on the same page, right? Some meta tags just close immediately. So some pages it looks like that. Other 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 pages it looks like this. Which one do you use? Whatever's being used elsewhere. Just copy whatever you see being used elsewhere and go paste it in, and you've got it. And that's the answer. Anytime a guy goes, hey, I can't believe you did that. I don't like that you did that. I want you to take them down, which is like never going to happen except for the guys who really know nothing, right? take them. Would you please take it? I'd rather you took them down. Well, of course I'll take them down. If you're not interested in them, I don't want to promote them, so they'll go down. But if the guy goes, but Google could see it or something, the answer is no, they can't. Bing can't, Yahoo can. Even if they see it, they're not allowed to show it to anyone. That's what that's for. By the way, that's for designers who design, and that's for people who are watching out for copywriting issues, plagiarism, site plagiarism, copying content from one website to another. As a matter of fact, that's why template stores very, very often do not index their work and make it rank on Google. Because if they actually put the copywriting on those pages that you were going to use, and you copy that because you bought it, you put on another domain, Google thinks you plagiarized the content from, their store, right? Google doesn't know it's a store. It doesn't care. All it knows is that content was on that website over there. Now it's on this website over here. So it's plagiarized. Well, if you're a template store, you don't want plagiarized content. So you reserve content for your demos on your store that you use that no one else is going to use or want, or just you're not going to guarantee any kind of results with it, right? That it's going to be acceptable to Google at all. Okay, that's your demo, right? It's a demo, okay? Not for sale, right? But in your template store, things people can buy, whenever you see all that lorem ipsum stuff, one of the reasons is so people can actually index the pages really, or not index the pages. But the fact of the matter is, if they put the final copywriting on those pages, so that when you buy it, it's pre-written for you. Well, first of all, it's copies, right? Because other people are buying it too, and so everyone's getting the same thing. But the store should not index the site. Because if Google sees that content, if Google's allowed to index that content, then it is not going to like seeing that content on the client's destination website. Okay, this is why template stores themselves don't try to make finished products, so to speak, and put them up, because then you lose your good copywriting every single time. That's why template stores that offer any kind of copywriting, or template designers or developers that offer any kind of copywriting, they're going to show you like an image of the copywriting they do for you, not the words. Or they're going to show you old stuff that's been done for other clients who no longer need it because they upgraded, who knows. They're going to show you, content that is not indexed on Google, so it's not ranking anywhere. Or they're going to show you pages that rank that say lorem ipsum for some reason. Because if they show you pages that rank, that say the content that you want, and you buy it, and you put on your own domain, you just lost that edge. It needs to be rewritten now because the template store already published that content by letting Google see it. If it says index instead of no index, Google gets to see the page and index it, but it's still not allowed to go anywhere else on your site. However, if you say index and follow, Google can absolutely do both. It can show all the content and all the related pages. And by the way, do you have to have this tag? No, you don't. Okay, you don't. If you don't, Google will assume it's allowed to index your pages and index related pages. But again, if you're trying to show people work, then you might just keep this nice and clear and obvious in some white space so anyone can see it. And just in case somebody asks, most people won't ask, most people won't care. They'll be excited. They'll want to talk more, or they'll say, no, thank you, don't need it. Might be upgrading my template anyway, something like that. Usually you're never going to get a harsh response because there's no reason somebody's going to give you a harsh response. Except for idiots, and they're idiots, so don't worry about them. But you might just leave this visible so that if you show the guy samples in your own site, the guy says, what if Google sees that? Then you can say, go back to the site, right-click, hit source code, and look for this line right here. That line means Google does not get to do anything with this web page at all. And same with Bing, same with Yahoo. All of the big search engines will listen to that tag. They all will follow. They will all obey the tag. Okay? All right. Now, somebody wanted to test that might want to go and just insert that real fast to a page they know is indexed. Google will still have it in their register, right? Until when? Until Google sees what you did, which might take them a month, right? All right. Okay, I think I covered that thoroughly. So now you really understand what's going on there and the value of it, the coolness of it. So we'll move on to more topics here soon.